like through your experiences, like what led you so into spirituality and made you understand all these concepts?
Is that a question for anybody?
Yeah, yeah, for anyone. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it had to do with me having a supernatural experience with my friend back in the day, like a few years ago now. It was a very surreal experience where we both saw a being at the same time in the same way. And I didn't even believe in ghosts when I saw it. After I saw it, I went back to the house. I made him reenact the movements, draw a picture. It was the same thing. It was crazy, man. It stepped out into light and then went through a wall and shit. It's fucking crazy. And I haven't seen anything like it since. And I wrestled with denial for a while after I saw that because I couldn't even fathom like what the fuck I saw. And I just came around to accept the conclusion as I thought more into the fact that, there are crazy things that happen in reality as it is. And you know what I'm saying? Like anything, really, so much is possible. I mean, you have the experiment with Einstein where he, won a Nobel Prize for proving that photons, energy particles at certain frequencies, as a particle can displace an electron. Something that isn't even matter can displace an electron. So that tells you in and of itself, there are things in reality that go against logic that we aren't even aware of. And from that moment, from that point, or that idea moving forward, you can just know that like there are things out here that we can't conceive of yet. So then I got into thinking about energy and things of that nature and being mindful of it. And it just makes sense when you really think about it and understand it in the way that it's presented to you. Even if you don't want to interpret it literally, you can interpret it metaphorically and it still makes sense. But
Right.
oftentimes you will find that it is a very physical experience in a lot of ways.
No, definitely, because it's like, because you see, like, we only see like 1% of the spectrum of what we can't be able to see. So you see something like that, you know what I mean? Like when something just comes into the wall and then you can't explain it, like your mind doesn't let you understand it. You know what I mean? Like, and those are the things that, like people, when they get those experiences, they think like, whoa, what, like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, and that's pretty amazing because, like, bro, since you, because and that's what put you and led you into all these things. If it wasn't for that experience, you know what I mean? And I believe that experience is very important because it's part of, life, everyday life of what we do and what our decisions make for ourselves. um and like, through experience you are going to have greater knowledge, you know what I mean? And that's where it all comes from. And like, and that's good, like explaining like the photons, you know what I mean, like Albert Einstein, you know what I mean, but like he really broken down the fact that, like the neutron particles and everything, he made an atomic bomb, you know what I mean? So he knew, like, which was crazy because, like, he knew that if two atoms were to come together, it'll create a bomb. And, like, neutron, electron, and then when they come together, they squeeze up to a whole obliterated, thing. And it's like, bro, like, we are that too, like, we're everything combined with nature, combined with love, combined with everything. So it's like, it is pretty insane. It is pretty insane, man.
Yeah, for real, bro. Like when I saw what I saw, bro, like my brain didn't even process the fact that I saw it go through a wall because of just how like my subconscious just immediately assumed that that was impossible to begin with. So when I physically saw it, my brain didn't even register it, man, until I walked over there because I thought I was going to see a person and nobody was there, bro. And like then it clicked and I was like, wow, so like the brain can even ignore things that it sees just because it thinks it's impossible. Like that just shows you like what the programming can do, man. Like from what we're raised to believe, bro, like we could probably see shit with our own eyes and not even like register it as what it is because of the programming in our subconscious, bro.
And yo, Pink Diamonds, you there, bro?
bro.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, to you, like, how do you feel about that?
No, I'm just sitting here talking to one of my close friends right now. I was just sitting on mute, just talking with him about what was just said, and it's just shit like that is wild. As far as me like being on board, I can tell you for a fact, like I hate speaking through but it happens sometimes, but they don't like us staring at them just for the simple fact that like our brains can't comprehend something so advanced of life form. It's really weird.
No, definitely. Yo, Carlos, well, what you gotta say about that?
I don't know if like really I can't, I'm not even gonna try and like make guesses on like how they think, like what they do, because honestly, bro, what I saw could have either been a ghost or a fucking extraterrestrial, bro.
No, yeah,
like,
for sure.
It could have been an extraterrestrial who took the conscious form, like, communicated with our consciousness and physically manifested as something that was familiar to us but still not human, and wanted to show us that it exists through that little display of walking through the wall, bro. It could be anything, bro. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I can't
that
even
would make
like
sense.
tell you. Yeah, I can't even tell you what it is, man. Like, I saw a UFO once, and and I only saw it because of, talking with Lover's perspective, bro. Like, he, put me on to like the idea, bro. Like, I didn't even, if I had seen that without talking to him, bro, I would have just like came up with something, bro. But after I
or would have brushed it off. Yeah.
Like I would have been like, oh, that was just, I don't know, but like whatever. Nah, bro, I saw like a fucking star floating across the sky far as fuck away, bro. Like, what the fuck?
No, yeah, that for sure happened to me too.
Yeah, it was like dust. It was like dust, bro. Like, it was like not even fucking nighttime, bro. There are no stars in the sky, dude.
Yeah, I literally have a recent video like that.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy, man. Like, the shit just went across the sky, bro. No sound, no nothing. Definitely wasn't an air. Like, I see the airplanes that fly around in the helicopters and shit. They don't have lights.
Was it like straight? Not to cut you off or anything.
Yeah, it looked like a star, bro. Like, and it was clearly far as fuck away. And like, there was no helicopter contraption with a light that I've seen that, for one, emits constantly like that, where it's just like a little star, bro. Like, airplanes and shit, like, they normally have like flashing lights and stuff, and they're normally not that big. So I'm like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
no, for sure.
And bro, and dude, you see, I had many experiences with that. Like, you see, I've been doing this for 3 years, and the fact is that when I see those light ball, the sky, like light beams, what I mean, I call them light beams, and Stephen Greer does say about, like they are able to dematerialize into physical or physical form, and the thing is, I can relate to that because I've been communicating, since for a very long time, and I have seen the same thing come and appear each time I try to do communication. And I feel like I truly believe this. I do believe that they are our ancestors from other worlds, other galaxies, or even here that used to be humans before the race even occurred of them evolving and going to where they need to go on their next life, on their journey. Because, I do believe that energy cannot be created or neither destroyed, only changed and moved on into whatever it changes.
No, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it is like how many, I want to ask you, Diamonds, how many experiences have you had with doing CE5 contact?
CE5, probably just a handful amount of times, but I try to do my own telepathically communication with them. I try to not strand away from CE5, but try to like build my own method with it, or my own method with communication. Right. I don't see anything wrong with CE5 though.
Yeah, because you see, people want to label these things as demons or angels or, fallen angels. And, this all comes from the Bible and texts, and things like that. So I mean, I understand what people's fear is coming from when they talk about these things because of a reference. And
Yes.
Carlos, yeah, and yo, Carlos, I want to say like, how do you feel about like people who say demons and fallen angels and all these things?
Bro, there's a lot. Like I said, bro, after what I saw, bro, like I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I'm saying? Like honestly, I think that demons is something that I think they're a frequency.
Mhm.
And basically I feel like they hijack hosts, bro. Like I feel like there are spirits around us that we just can't see, and they can, like, if you're not, they can like communicate with you in the form of thoughts in some ways, like you know, like giving people like self-destructive thoughts and shit, and like depending on what you feed, bro, like what energy and frequency and emotion you feed will like determine, you know, how long it stays, or like if you attract even more, make it more powerful, bro. And I think that being around certain people will like, you know what I'm saying, like whatever they have going on inside of them, bro. That's why you have to be careful of like the frequencies you're around, dog. Because I know like demons that inhabit people's bodies, bro, they destroy them, bro. Like, you know, they get into self-destructive habits and like, you know, basically drive them, like rot their bodies, bro, like with stress and cortisol and like, you know, just bad habits like alcoholism and shit, like just killing themselves, bro, because like that's what demons do, bro. Like they just destroy everything, including themselves, their host, like everything, bro. And you have to do like a cleanse and like get that shit out. As far as like, you know, whether or not, like honestly, bro, like I can't say for certain, because like I don't have any way to like see, like truly empirically observe this. I can only go off of like what I saw that one time with my friend, bro. And but I do think, you know, if I saw that, like there's no telling, bro, like what could be around.
Definitely, because have you ever heard of Daniel Means? Anyone here?
No, I can't say I have.
What was that?
Daniel Means is a person who created a device that is able to capture multidimensional beings.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I watched that
I
video.
saw you posted.
Yeah, I watched the video you sent me.
Yeah, yeah. Like the Daniel Means thing. Like I'm not gonna lie, bro. This is what made me look. I want to see your opinions on this. How do you feel about people that are able to ascend through good or ascend through evil? Like for instance, because you know there is a balance to this planet. You know what I mean? Uh, like what is your opinion about that? Like people like whatever you do the most of, good or bad, you know, and you can ascend through that. As fucked up as it sounds, you know. Hello?
So what you're saying is basically people, like what they do throughout life and the frequency behind it, like they essentially tune their spirits, is what you're saying, and then that will determine where they go in the afterlife.
In a well, yeah, in a certain way. Yeah, like kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Like ascend.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, bro. I was thinking something like that could be possible. Like basically, you know, the emotional states and like the frequency you entertain can like tune your spirit to a certain frequency, and thus upon release like of the from the physical body can essentially magnetize it to certain spiritual dimensions and planes, bro.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly, because you know, like this relates back to what I was saying about Daniel Neems. That see, like he captures like in the church, he captures like negative beings, um, like just sitting there, nobody sees them, you know, like and they can do whatever they want, you know, within their plane and messing with our frequencies and vibrations, you know, and like you said, Carlos, like whoever is around you, like whoever feeds that negative energy towards that person, they're going to feel that, you know, like no, like either subconsciously or unconsciously, um or whether they are aware about it, like people who have heightened senses, that can feel the magnetic spectrum around them. Do you relate to any of that, Diamond?
No, yeah, I was gonna say, ever since I've looked into his work, I've literally been trying to make contact and it's not been working.
Mm.
Like that's how I know that his work is legit, because every time I try to, one of the entities like literally just keep popping in and out. And it's like it's been like distracting me from my work, and just really upsetting my energy and just my focus for like the past couple of days. And I don't know, it's been kind of tough, but like I don't know. Hopefully I can get out of it.
Man, I feel you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You just got like, just, you know, realize that those are not your thoughts. Realize that, you know what I mean, everything that we do in this planet is sometimes based from another entity's decision upon you. Because, you know, since they're everywhere and they're invisible and we can't see that beyond the spectrum, unless you take, you know, either you meditate, go into higher consciousness, or take psychedelics, you know? Like I feel like those kinds of things can help you recognize what you are fighting.
No, yeah, for sure. I've been meaning to meditate just so I can like cleanse my energy, but no, yeah, that for sure seems the way.
Definitely. And yeah, like have you heard of what's been going on with Luis?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of what's going on with him, and been reading up on it. I honestly like what he has to say.
Yeah, man, because you see, look, bro, I really respect this man for what he said about CE5 and the community. I'm not sure if you watched the Engaging Phenomenon person with Luis, but
No, yeah, I did.
yeah, and what happened, and what I really like what he said about it was that people who want to do CE5, you are able to do this for free in your own backyard. I'm sorry, but Stephen Greer, nobody needs to pay for anything or this or that, because like I said, this will make you look like a con artist or
Yes.
somebody money, you know.
Mhm.
And that's the image that people portray on him, because since people don't want to just do it themselves, like it becomes harder. It's like going to a medium and being like, tell me my future, and then, oh, but they're asking for money to tell you your future, but how do you know that future is not going to change? Because, you know, the future is always changing, timelines are always changing. So in the future and the past and the present is all happening at the same time. So like it's the same way for that, you know. And you know, in a way, like this is a movement. Like, so this is why it's for the people of the community to strive on whatever they are doing. I say create your own stuff, do your own things, do whatever you think is right for yourself, and always do, and you know, always think for yourself no matter what.
Facts.
Carlos, so how do you feel about that, man?
About which part? The last part?
Like yeah, like where people, like, you know, are able to just do stuff for free instead of paying for something, you know.
Like, how do I feel about that in general, or like should people?
Yeah, like yeah, just in general, just in general.
Man, honestly, bro, I kind of don't like, you know, it kind of sucks that you know, we have to operate as a society with like monetary stuff, bro. Like, I mean, I understand that it's practication, but at the same time, you know, I can't really fuck with the idea of like somebody going and like grabbing like natural water and then putting a price on it and saying like that's their water. Like, you know, like stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's like a construct when that water belongs to the earth and like belongs to just, you know, everything and anything and everything.
Right, exactly. Yeah, man, and I definitely feel that too, bro. Like just like nature itself should be free, because you know, with the seed, if you have a seed, you can grow infinitely as many food as you want, like a tomato, whatever food you want is free, available, you know, through, and there's rain, there's water, you know. So like it's just everything is so constructed into the point where, you know, one day everything of society will dismantle itself. it will, finally it will collapse within its own roots because they didn't even stick to their own roots, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, everything is cyclic, bro. Like, the stability of society, bro, yin yang, it all turns and comes around. Like the white part of yin yang turns to the black, and then the black back to the white, and society everything follows that same, like, instability back to stability. That's just how the world works, man.
Right, and it's very dualistic. It's polarized. It's but the separation of illusion does exist. That we have to be divided from other people, which is the false statement of the fact that why do we need to be divided? Why can't everyone just get along? You know what I mean? Like and the thing is that I truly think the reason why we can't get along, since each and every person have left their tribe, all we did was just create conflict in reality, whether it was religion, whether it was anything that has to do with war against other people just because of their own beliefs. And I feel like belief really is the thing that creates war, because you don't know how to apply yourself with their belief. So instead of separating, I rather just try to acknowledge what it is instead of saying, oh no, you're wrong and he's right, or whatever people think nowadays.
Yeah, bro, what I find crazy is that, like, all of these wars and things that are happening because people want to find peace. Like, that's the craziest thing about it. It's like everybody is at war because they want the peace that we could all have if we just all decided at once to have peace. Like, I understand that there are some issues and things that make it more complicated than that, but at the same time, I feel like we could, even if people couldn't agree, like, you don't have to be, you can coexist, but just have different territories. And, there doesn't have to be war about it. I mean, but it really depends. Like, I just feel like there has to be a society, or like sections within all societies just in the world, where people can, choose to migrate to where they want to migrate, to be governed by different things without, like, being born somewhere and stuck.
Right.
But of course, you have egos and people with malice intent, who, like, like dictators that want to abuse people, and then are like, nah, y'all can't take my people, and then that turns into war. But it's just crazy because, like, everybody wants peace, bro. Like, most people, at least. And I just feel like, a lot of that can be accomplished if we just all recognize that and move from that place.
Right. Hey, yo, Diamond, how do you feel about that?
No, I feel like that's pretty accurate. Again, I feel like we're all trying to find peace, but we're all dealing with multiple wars within our frequency, and then frequencies that we can't comprehend yet fully through our our conscience. But hopefully, we can achieve this world peace. But there's a lot of still dark entities that they hold leverage to all life as well.
Because you see, man, like because the 3D consciousness is what truly holds us back as human beings. And what I mean by the 3D consciousness is that the day that you are born, if you don't have the perception of the fifth dimension or whatever dimension that you are in within this life, like that dull plain reality where everyone wakes up and then sees it every single day of their lives, that they are not fully awakened to who they are and themselves. They will forever see that dull reality until either something happens to them, or they just find it themselves, or through self-discovery. So each person that lives is going by, mostly of what society gives them. The average human will grow up, they'll teach them how to play their game, school, and then back into work, and then like they taught us how to play their game through this society, and it's all literally just brainwashed, transcripted things that were already written by these politicians to take and destroy the mind of the average person to whatever they were fully potentially able to grow on. So to me, like, this is why I look back at ancient. This is why I look back at ancients, uh, back in the ancient times, because their civilization wasn't the way it's corrupt now. I mean, there were still killings, there were still things out there that, like, wasn't all peaceful, but throughout the most part, people knew and grew with the knowledge back then in ancient history, just with the pyramids in Egypt and things like that. Those people are very highly intelligent people to create such a structure, because scientists want to say, oh no, they don't know anything, or this or that. So if they don't know anything, how do they know how to create a pyramid of a power grid? And I strongly believe this, that they were contacted by extraterrestrials themselves, who also came here to help them to understand probably how to build these things. There's acoustic levitation theory. There's also, it's not a theory, it's been proven to, any object that is able to create sound is able to levitate. And they were using telepathy to put the stuff in place of the pyramids, of where they are, exactly where they wanted, and exactly how they wanted the astrology of everything was pointing up to Orion. So that really tells us something, that they were connected with these beings. How do you feel about that, Carlos?
Well, what I know for certain is ancient Egypt, they had a very, very good understanding of the cosmos and space and physics. I mean, you read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you look at the concepts of the gods, and just the stories enveloping them, like the whole story of Osiris and Horus, and the consumption of the eye, and all these things were literal, like, cosmic processes, explained metaphorically, like the black hole swallowing objects. And they had an understanding of these things, and in a way, you can see how they depict contact with otherworldly beings. And I mean, I wasn't there, there's not too much that I can say. What I do know is that I've read books that show that they did have an understanding of things like electromagnetism, with the way that they made their tombs and caskets, shrines. They were wrapped in gold and wood, like actual charge capacitors, and they used the Ankh as like a tool to like decharge these things. And apparently, I mean, it's said, I mean, so much can happen, because history has been rewritten, and so many things have been taken and put into the wrong hands, and claimed to be of origins that they weren't. But it said that the ancient Egyptians had technology, like, with this electromagnetism. Like, it went further than making capacitors. They made actual batteries, and used these batteries with tools to like basically create like objects that could carry light in ways. So that's how they painted the inside of the tombs and whatnot. Because if you look in the tombs, there isn't soot. There's no sign of there being a fire as a source of light. People try to say they use mirrors, but to me that doesn't make sense, because of the sheer range of detail and just all around, like, how they covered the entire insides of these places. There's no way that a reflected light is going to give them enough to make that possible. So it definitely makes sense to, at the very least, consider that they took these batteries and capacitors and things that they were discovering, because clearly they had an idea of physics and whatnot. They were a very intellectual society, very intellectual ancient African society, and use these things and generated tools, like technologies. That's something that's definitely plausible.
Right. No, definitely. Yeah. No. Everything you said, like, it makes sense that if everything was already rooted, into building the pyramids, I feel like the pyramids does have a strong purpose. It says that, I was watching this thing that said that pyramids, when they are around nature, or if you put them in nature, like things will start actually growing because it's bringing a frequency of love and and things like that, transparency. And like I didn't even know that thing about the mirror, that like it reflects. Like, can you explain that more? Like,
Yeah, so they wanted to come up with an explanation as to how the ancient Egyptians were able to paint the insides of their, temples and tombs, and things that essentially without some sort of light source would be way too dark to be able to, do what they did as far as artistically and with the ways that they detailed the insides of these places. And so they tried to say, oh, they took mirrors and reflected light onto the walls and whatnot inside, and basically use that. And to me, that's kind of short-sighted. I mean, and I don't know. It just doesn't. That doesn't really sound plausible to me. Like, that doesn't really make sense, because I mean, there's just far too much detail that they're paying attention to, and it just that, you know what I'm saying? And you know that they had technologies. I mean, they were clearly really talented engineers with how they created the pyramids. They didn't lift those with their hands. They created, they either what you said or had advanced, engineering tools that they used to create these. And if they were capable of that, then who's to say, on top of these capacitors and batteries that, were clearly they were working on it and made, who's to say that they didn't create like lamps and shit, man? Like, I mean, that just sounds up their alley. I mean, they were already exploring electromagnetism.
right. Actually, I've actually the lamp part was actually crazy, because like as well, that because like maybe they did have all of this stuff, man. Like, and we just because we weren't there to see it, but at the same time, man, like wait, just repeat one thing that you said. Like, just repeat what you said again, like about the last thing.
Yeah, so like, they were already working to, they already had an understanding of electromagnetism. I mean, you can see it in their hieroglyphs. You have the Jed, which is the hieroglyph that means stability, and it is literally a Jacob's ladder, like the blueprint of a Jacob's ladder. And what I'm thinking is that these excavations that they did in Egypt, they took inventions and then just invented the patent, and then patented these inventions and claimed that they, that the pillagers created it when it wasn't them. That's what I'm thinking is the most likely scenario here. But yeah.
That definitely, yeah, yeah. Now I got my train of thought. Basically, like, yeah, the lamps. I saw that that they were using actual things to light up things. I don't really know how they did it. But I think no, wait. I think they used like metals and stuff to create electricity around it to charge up their lamps. Like maybe like a generator, or some type of tool, or maybe it was just that simple, bro. Like, these people were also, like, you gotta keep in mind, like, I feel like these people were advanced, but I think that they kept it like very simple. Diamond, how do you feel about the pyramids and the electromagnetism and all of that?
I like to start off with they were definitely an advanced civilization, just off the simple fact that they had elongated skulls, which led their IQs to be what quadruple of what ours is right now. So I mean, they obviously knew to do things consciously that led them to communicate with even just with each other, or a civilization nearby, and gather information and tools that were needed to boost to where we are now. Now I really don't know much on the ins and outs of the magnetism and the lighting used to help functionize the pyramids, but I just know that they were definitely like an elite group of people as far
Mm,
as like conscience.
right now, definitely, and you know, like we have places like Atlantis, Lumeria, you know, those civilizations, and sometimes, you know, I feel like, you know, if you believe in past lives and things like that, I sometimes feel very highly connected to those places. Um, and I feel like most people who were born in Atlantis can also feel that pain of what have occurred there when, you know, the flood happened towards Atlantis, and then the people, you know, because they were on a whole different frequency and vibration. And also, let me get back to the electromagnetism. I think, you know, Nikola Tesla, for instance, he created a device, like kind of like a tower, that was able to create electricity and then put it amongst everywhere, like for everyone, like free energy. And you know,
Right.
we're still living like we're in the 1800s. You know, like a reference to what Stephen Greer said, like we live like we're in the 1800s because of we still go by fire, we still have coal, we still have all these things that we don't necessarily need because we have zero point 0.1 energy. And you know, just like Nikola Tesla, he believed that the pyramid of Egypt actually was a radiator for this free energy to occur, for current frequencies and all these things, just by using that kind of tool. The pyramid itself is a energy.
Yeah, I want to elaborate on what you said about us basically still like, in the 1800s or basically, ancient societies having a grip on things that, we didn't. This is something I find interesting. So I have this big book on Napoleon Bonaparte just because I just read things. And there was a part in the book where he contracted syphilis and saw some guy, like a doctor, and he ended up getting cured. So I'm sitting here like, hold on. How did he get rid of syphilis back in a time where there apparently wasn't a cure for that? So what I'm thinking is with the burning of all these libraries, like I think the burning of was it Alexandria was one of them, and there were, I think there were so many things that we had and like blueprints and things that just got destroyed maybe from crusades or whatever. But I seriously think that there were inventions and things that have been lost in time or maybe kept in the vaults of like governments and just not made public yet, or in their control. Maybe they want to roll it out at different times so they can use it for military purposes. I don't know, but there's just a lot of things that could be going on. I personally, I do think like the ancient Egyptians, they had a grip on electromagnetism. I think that they used the Ankh as a tool to like they connected their batteries at the end of them and use them as a circuit board to emit like essentially light, like through using like an electrically charged like platform to create like a static like light. And I think that's how they like painted their caves or whatever. I read this book called The Ankh, and it goes over that. So it's a pretty, it's pretty interesting to like delve into into that subject.
No, definitely, man. I can definitely relate to what you're saying. The Ankh sounds like a processor or some type of motherboard, like that, that they're able to connect and then create the power that they need. And I also think that I believe that maybe underground the pyramids, there's like this huge Ankh that's just generating power for the pyramid itself. Because people say that when they step around the pyramids, like people who actually walk in the pyramids, they feel all this energy around them, like a static electricity almost everywhere you go with inside the pyramid. And that makes a lot of sense, knowing that if it's generating power, then it's definitely doing something inside the pyramid. And also to your, I didn't know that syphilis was actually cured without a cure, or somebody, you know, I can also relate this to Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi, he was actually supposed to release a documentary on how to cure cancer with just using fruits and antioxidants with Nipsey Hussle, RIP. Uh, and the thing is, like, to me, I feel like if we already have all these cures, right? You know, I feel, of course, the government does not care whether you have cancer, whether you have this or that. They just want to keep money flowing because they understand if they were to cure it, then all that money will go to whatever, like there'll be no money involved into it. It would just be cured for everyone. So, it's very dark what they do to undermine human beings with the things that they are know, but they're keeping, like you said, in a vault, because they took also Nikola Tesla's paper, technology. So of course they would take anyone else's technology and just keep it to themselves. Even though this is all documented on the CIA website or FBI. Like for instance, Nikola Tesla, like there's also thing that they talk about in the FBI website. There's like Venus, Nikola Tesla is from Venus. From 1856, he was aborted on a ship to the Tesla family, and then that's where he got his name, Tesla. And they said that they were seeing UFOs, and that's where he came from, Nikola Tesla, from Venus. And it's pretty amazing stuff, that the things that they put out there for people to research, but it's just people are too blind or maybe just too ignorant to what they don't know or just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, you just have to think about that, man. Like, I mean, it literally said in the excerpt that Napoleon was suffering from a condition that was described as what, modern day syphilis. And he went to it like a doctor, and the doctor like did some like things with it, like some like washing something. And he ended up getting cured from fucking syphilis, bro. Syphilis was a death sentence back in like what, during was Al Capone's time. Like Al Capone died from fucking syphilis, and you're telling me Napoleon in the 1700s got cured from it? Like what the hell else is out there with that? And I mean, yeah, bro, like you already know, like weird stuff happens in general. Apparently there was a guy who had a blueprint for a water powered engine, like car engine, water powered or steam powered, one of the two. And he got assassinated, bro. Like somebody came to meet with him about it. He was at a restaurant and his food was poisoned. So somebody, I don't know what or who it was, but somebody poisoned his fucking food, bro, when he was, on the verge of revolutionizing the world with a water powered engine, bro. And yeah, and so and the blueprint is still out there too. I think you can do like a Google search about it, or it's like incomplete something. But basically, you have all these businesses who are trying to protect their, basically like demonic people who are, material minded people who, going out here and killing people to, protect their business, even though something like a water powered engine could save the ecosystem and things like that, man. They had a cure for diabetes apparently too, and the same thing happened. The guy got bought out. So, there's just all kinds of stuff out here, man. It's really crazy, like what what these evil people will do to, just make a buck, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hey, yo, Diamond, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's wild. Man, that part I knew nothing about. Man, but I do know that they do buyouts, and they'll make or assassinate people or make them, back out of what they intended on doing. And it sucks because it's all to make us, a better civilization, but they want to keep us in a type 0 civilization. They don't want us to grow, which is really weird. They just want to like throw little dosage of knowledge and just, things that'll get us by for the next couple of years, but nothing that'll like help us out in the long run or like to create, extended life.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yo, Carlos, well, how do you feel about what he said?
Which part? Can you reiterate it?
That basically that the civilization and how they are tying us together within the dark of, you know, like everything that's actually going on and what they are hiding.
Yeah, I mean, bro, so here's how it happens, dog. So, our earliest memory, bro, we're in school, we're in elementary school, we're being taught, what to look at, what not to look at, being told how to think, basically. And then, we get into this idea that things like, the news sources and what we hear from professional people and whatnot, like that's where the truth is and all that. And then people don't realize that once you get older and you trust all these things, you got these billionaires in the pockets of these places and these news channels, and they're giving you information because you already trust them. So it automatically meets no resistance. So it goes straight from your conscious mind to your subconscious. And then those subconscious thoughts, because you've already accepted, since I saw it on the news, it's true. Because you've already accepted it, you're going to have conscious thoughts later that come from your subconscious that has been affected by the programming that these billionaires have, told them to say. Which, I mean, you already know this shit's going on. I mean, it's coming to light now. People are waking up because of the shit going on with Wall Street and these naked shorts and all that coming out. But anyways, but this is stuff that's just obvious. Of course, billionaires are going to put money into things that has all the attention of the public and the public trust. Of course, they're going to use that to manipulate you. So they put money into this, and they put information how they want you to think. They'll tell you through those sources because there's no resistance. So then those thoughts come, they seed into your subconscious mind and then arise later as conscious thoughts, and you don't question it because it already came from something that you had already assumed to be true because of your programming. And people don't realize that because they haven't, questioned their programming. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we live in a society where we use the darkness and ignorance to like tie us together, whatever. I don't think it's all malicious. I think a lot of it is neutral. But I also think that there are, a lot of evil people with agendas who put money into the education system and things like, manipulation tools, like the corruption on Wall Street is a very good example of like what these people with money will do to push their agendas, man. Like really fuck with the people, like, the media's heads and whatnot, and, just people's heads through the media. So yeah, for sure, bro. It's just, but this is all just education, man. You just have to be aware of like what's going on and like what people are capable of. Like, you're in the mind, put yourself in the shoes of a billionaire. This is a megalomaniac who thinks he's better than everybody, thinks he's better than the average person, ego inflated because he's rich and everybody tells him so because he's rich. And, so they're just going to be focused on protecting their power. And generally, it's just, that's just how it works, man. Most times. I mean, I'm sure you have some good philanthropists who have money too, who's, keep intact their moral integrity, because I believe in balance. But, I'm saying, I think a lot of it is just neutral. And generally people who approach life at a neutral standpoint, when they have all that power, will just, act on self-preservation, even at the expense of the common man. But yeah, it's just, that's just the reality of it. You just have to be careful and, be skeptical, question the things you see, just because it's coming out of the TV doesn't mean it's true. Do your own research, use your eyes, bro. Like, you have fucking National Geographic creating a sculpture of Nefertari and King Tut, and they look European. But then you look at the genetic data that was taken of the corpses, and they're like damn near over 90% like sub-Saharan African, like the entire tribe, the whole family. I think it was starts with an A. I think it's like Amant, one of the two. But yeah, essentially their genetic data literally implies in and of itself that they were dark skinned like ancient Egyptians, even though this was in the New Kingdom era, which was long after like the racial mixing, or not long after, but recently, they started mixing with Europeans and whatnot. during the New Kingdom era. But yeah, and I mean, you know, you have to use your eyes. Like, you know, this program and shit runs deep, man. You got these billionaires in these people's pockets, National Geographic, all these places, man. You can't trust them, bro. You know, National Geographic got confronted about their whitewashing, and they basically just said, "Oh, it was just the camera light or whatever." But basically, they were trying to give some like half-ass like excuse to try and justify it without like changing it, when really you know what they were trying to do. And because like it was the way that it was worded too. It was like well, you know, blah blah blah, like, you know, that wasn't something. There was an easy fix to that, and they didn't do it, and you know, they didn't update it. And you know, it is what it is. I mean, you look at the cave paint, like you look at the paintings, and you can tell that like King Tut, like, you know, this was an African, like bro was melanated. Like this is
Right.
easy. You look at it, and then you look at it and you compare it with the depiction they made of him, and there is the strongest, like the most obvious discrepancy between the National Geographic depiction of him and the paintings that the ancient Egyptians made of him. I mean, you think the ancient Egyptians are going to paint their king wrong? Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. They would get their asses kicked. So, or I'm not even going to say that, because, you know, that's not even like the way that they approach society, but they wouldn't want to disrespect their king out of their respect for him. Like, you know, they revered the gods, like, but, you know, in a general sense, people wouldn't want to piss off authority. That's just like the general notion in general. So, that's what I meant by that. But yeah, like you look at that and you look at how National Geographic did it, man, like it's just insane. Like you can see, like, even the 3D model in and of itself, like it was far too light, just in general, regardless of the damn camera lighting. Like fuck all that shit. Like they whitewashed this African, and it was, I think, I have a video. It's a private link, and it's unlisted, so you need the link to view it. And I found it through the because I was looking at the genetic data of King Tut and his family, and I looked at one of the authors of the research, like a doctor who signed off on it, and I found his Twitter, and he linked a video on his Twitter talking about, you know, basically the whitewashing of Egyptian history and whatnot, and, you know, because he was about correcting these efforts, which is why he was working on the genetic data of King Tut's family and you know, the corpses of that time to, you know, fix the whitewashing. And it was a white woman, and she has a PhD in Egyptology, and she was talking about the intention of whitewashed Egyptology. She called it white Egyptology, and this is unlisted. She's not doing it for clout. This clearly, because it's unlisted. You know, it's not even public. You need a link to view it. So and I'm sure it was unlisted, maybe because she might have been afraid of the backlash in some ways, for being, you know, a white woman who's standing up for the truth in this matter. But, you know, it might have just been because she didn't want to deal with it, you know, or, you know, because, you know, the public can act crazy, whatever. But yeah, she was going over it and said that the reason why they whitewashed Egyptian history and just African history in general was because these racists back, you know, they're long dead now, but when they first introduced these concepts, and unfortunately they're still circulating in our society, the intention of it was to make it look like Africans weren't a part of human history, so that people didn't view them as humans. And this is the programming that I'm talking about, that we have to be aware of and break out of, because you have a lot of evil people with money in these places like National Geographic who are going to whitewash things and, you know, just do a lot of nasty things to push an agenda that you're not even aware of, but you subconsciously adopt because they're aware of the implication of what they're putting out. Like they know your subconscious is going to read things in a certain way, and before you know it, you know, they've grabbed you from the back of your mind and control the front. So
No, definitely, man. And you know, this all has to do with like eugenics. This all has to do with stuff that, you know, they already implemented. You know, especially like with the Aryan race and Hitler and stuff like that. Like the Europeans, you know, they wanted to create more of their genetics into other people, and you know, and this is why I believe that, you know, a lot of people that are base European or this or that, like that's because they took the culture and they basically essentially took us and raped us of the fact that they were just savages. They didn't really care about those kinds of people. So what I believe is that strongly is that that to it's not about like a race or this or that or or melanated or not melanated. It's just these people do come from other genetics, and these people are not even like sometimes not even real. I don't even know like what they are, who they are. If you look into the reptilian, you know, uh theory of understanding like genetic splicing, with the Anunnaki and the humans, uh, which people also correlate reptilians to the Anunnaki. Uh, I strongly believe that, because you see, there's also other theories like Yaakov. That man created, he said they say he was a big-headed black scientist who created uh, white people. So I don't really know how deep or far this really goes into. Diamond, do you know any about this?
I know a little bit on the subject of what Carlos was talking about. I'm sorry, kind of like I dozed out for a second. I've been up for like I want to say like 30 hours. Um, but shit, man. If you could just refrain that one more time, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Basically, how do you feel about eugenics in the general sense?
Oh, shit is wild, bro. That's all I can say. I can't even speak on what I know because people will start questioning why do I know this type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that, but like, this is like a podcast where we can really speak upon all these things because we don't care about censoring, we don't care about any of that. Well, we are here to really speak upon anything that we know, what I mean? To bring out
Yeah.
to, what I mean? This is what the podcast is truly about for the community and the people itself that want to talk about these kinds of things because we are living in times where things are being censored, things are being collapsed. Yeah, like so this is why I don't really care, man. We can speak upon anything about this podcast, like I said. Like this is a regular podcast. Oh, I say this, we are scripted. No, bro. We are going into a deeper sense of mind when we are speaking to each other's psyche.
Yeah, no, it's very important to be able to talk about these things because when you don't talk about it, then you're gonna get communicated like you're gonna have the wrong people essentially subtly educating you on these subjects through manipulation with Hollywood and movies and fucking bullshit like that. So anyway, as far as like the whole white people or whatever people, what I know is that the oldest human fossil was found in Western Africa around the region of Ethiopia, which is of course in Africa. And what ended up happening is our earliest Homo sapiens migrated into different parts of the world and the genetics mutated. I don't know if it was from like things like incest or just random mutations happening as a result of just genetic sequencing just changing as just naturally. I have no fucking idea, but what I do know is that these mutations occurred in other places of the world, and those I guess they were better suited to the environment than the non-mutated genetics, so they ended up being like sexually successful in those particular regions and thus resulted in different variations of human beings. Now whether or not you want to consider mutated genetics human or not, that's your own opinion. I me personally, I think because we all descend from ancient Africans or indigenous Africans, then we all have that capacity for humanity within us. It's just a matter of whether or not it's in you, because people, it doesn't matter what they look like, they can be demonic or heavenly or divine. It's just a matter of the temperament they want to adopt. But but I mean, I don't have all the answers, and that's just the one that makes a lot of sense to me in certain ways. But yeah.
Well, how do you feel about so they say that we also, as far as like getting to where we are, like humans evolving to where we are, uh we were having sex with, extraterrestrial beings. How do you feel about that?
So that's, like I said, I don't have like a crystal ball or nothing. I can't see into the past so much. I can only like go with what I know. But what I do know is that, I saw what I've seen the things that I've seen. And, to me, what it looks like is, extraterrestrials are, they operate from a divine frequency. And to me, what that means is that they act in the form of compassion and, just want to communicate and connect. And I think that they certainly could have interacted with humanity in positive ways, like perhaps even gave us boost and like, medicinally or whatever else. But again, I don't know what happened or what didn't happen, because I wasn't there for a lot of it. I can only use, my eyes and my own reasoning based on my experiences and, what I see, like what doesn't add up, like King Tut's painting versus National Geographic's depiction of him.
No, yeah,
That's
for
an
sure.
obvious one. Yeah, that's like an obvious one. You know what I'm saying? But I would have to, honestly, I'd have to research more into the topic. Like I've been learning a lot about extraterrestrials through, Love's perspective, but I don't know all there is to know. I am aware of like the Anunnaki and the theory pertaining to eugenics and the mixing of, different species from like Andromeda and whatnot into the human genome. But again, this isn't something that I can verify, as I don't have the tools to empirically. So, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely not something that I knock at whatsoever, because I'm aware of what's possible in this infinite universe.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you see, look, man, because anything can be, possible. Like if you can think about it, it already is possible. Like okay, for instance, when you take psychedelics, right? Like shrooms or LSD, or even, if some people would take DMT, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm willing to. The thing is that you see, when you are in these higher conscious states of mind, and then when you are doing CE5 sober, whether on an influence or not, doesn't really matter. They're still going to connect with you if you are in their vibrations and their spectrum of reality. And how to accomplish doing CE5, and, like, don't take my methods, just use your own methods, because each and every person is going to do it very differently from each other. Like for my method is that I position myself into a lotus, like not lotus position, but more just into like a frequent thought of them and me communicating with each other. And then I show them the location of where I am using remote viewing, which remote viewing, the best way, and I can describe it, is that it's almost like a GPS signal within your mind that you are able to connect with whatever is out there, because your consciousness is non-local. So when, okay, like let's give an example of what non-locality is. I had this really good example of what non-local, like, okay, if you use, like, for instance, a computer, or that like, or your messaging, that is non-local. It can be at any place or anywhere when you message somebody, or through the internet. It's a source. So it's creating this energy and then transferring and changing into whatever the message is. That's not local. It's going everywhere. So, but through remote viewing, you are able to see the present, the past, and the future. And like I said, you are able. The reason you can see that is because it's all happening at the same time. So, and let me say this: I had this dream last night, where essentially I was still in my material form, but I was floating inside of this. I don't know if it was a ship. I really don't know what it was, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody ever experienced this kind of thing, but I was in this ship, which I believe it was a ship, because when I was trying to go through the wall, it wasn't allowing me to go through the wall. It was just more like I could see the wall, everything, like imagine like a white floor, like a whole white floor. And then okay, so the base looked metallic. It's almost like it's iron, metal, and everything that's aluminum combined together. And I'm not going to lie like that, but that's all I remember from my dream, that I was able to float, but I wasn't able to go through the wall. Like if I were in my astral state, which is the light beam, because everybody is interdimensional. Anybody can go through walls themselves if they just learn how to astral project through walls or whatever they want to go to, and that's also non-local, which you are able to go anywhere you want through space and time. So, so that being said, I believe that consciously, maybe I'm not trying to claim this or anything, but if I was abducted, or if my subconscious or consciously I was abducted, but just in a materialistic form, because I did feel like I was floating inside a ship with a metal something that I could not penetrate or go through the wall, because I was still in my like in my physical body. Has anyone experienced anything like that?
Yes.
How
Same. So it was back when my first abduction, where they let me keep the memory from it. They put me on board, and the only view they gave me to look from was this one window, but the window wasn't a window, how I'm explaining it is like what. So like how we say transparency when we bring up transparency, it was like that. Like it's really really weird on how this ship was and how this craft was, but we they took me to this one planet that literally looked like what it looks similar to Saturn, but instead of being the way Saturn is, the rings were like literally like going vertical instead of like on a slant that it's usually on. It, it's- that's all I can pretty much say. But the window view of it was like really really wide, and it just like went in like a whole 360 format.
Did you see any beams?
No, like I said, when you reach a certain once you reach a certain form of respect, um, they really don't want you looking at them. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it, but like even like what I've heard with like a few like high like government officials, like even they're not allowed to look at these beings directly.
Mm,
It's
that
only
makes
for it's only for a few amount of people to actually see these beings directly. But once I did have another encounter on a ship. I was having sex with an extraterrestrial being, and I ended up coming back to my full mental conscience. Like I was fully like awakened, and I ended up seeing this being and what I was doing and where I was at and how big this ship was.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, like these things are fucking huge in the inside, bro. Fucking
Yeah,
huge.
dude, I can relate to that. You see, I didn't see any beams myself within the ship. All I remember was me floating in it while everything was moving at the same time. And like I just felt like a metal. I don't know if you ever saw that, like looking above you and seeing the ship like metal or anything like that. Um, but what I can really say is that, man, like so you said you had intercourse with a being, uh,
Yes.
well, what does that feel like?
Amazing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was pure, like purest of the pure. Even like, all right, so like when you're making contact and you feel that that telepathically, communication going on, and you get that, that that weird sensation, that great sensation out of it, and like it doesn't compare to anything on earth. And
Right.
it's sort of like that. It's just something that's never going to compare to like anything on earth. It's really unexplainable.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Because you see, when I have mental connections with them, when doing CE5, I also feel like euphoria. I also feel like they every time they come, it's almost like they clear my mind. Um,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
yeah, like and that's the thing. Like you see, there was a time where I was seeing you saw like I had many encounters. In May, I saw them 5 times. They came May 1st, uh they came on May 3rd and the 21st, and I forgot the other dates, but they've been coming consistently. And you see, like the same way, they don't like us when we record, like you said, they don't want to be seen through that. And especially when you are recording, it's almost the same way, like the manner of if a person was recording another person,
Hmm.
they feel some kind of uncomfortability to them. So, I feel like that's the same exact way. So this is why I don't just take out my phone anymore and just start recording, only because of respect out of them and just enjoying the experience with them. You see, look, people have the wrong idea when it comes to recording, like with these beings that come, because I feel like they just want to personally connect with you, not for everyone to just see this, because not everyone is going to believe you, nor no one's going to uh or think you're crazy or this or that. So it doesn't even matter you have footage or not, because at the end of the day, it all decides on the person of who you are showing. So the thing is, like since I stopped recording they've been coming more consistently, because like I said, it's all about respect, love, and all of that. And the thing is, okay, if you are, I think the difference between somebody who's recording within a group session, like let's say if you are doing CE5 in a group, I feel like the contact would allow for, of course, with permission, they will allow you to record them for that moment because you are with a group of people. So with a group of people, I feel like it doesn't become as personal anymore. It becomes for that group and the community and the people, for them to show themselves to. But when I'm just out there doing this alone, because I mostly do this by myself, I don't really have many people to actually do CE5 with. I don't just take out my phone anymore and record, because my first intentions were to literally not record. It was just to do contact.
No, yeah, for sure. That at first, I mean, when I had my first encounter, I before, so it happened last year, and before that even happened, I didn't even believe in any of this shit. The only thing I did believe in were ghosts, because I actually did encounter a ghost in a previous year. But as far as like extraterrestrial beings, I would always question it, or question life and existence, and like if we're even alive now, you know. But after I had my first, encounter, I had to come to terms and realization that, this is real life. And after that, they were just giving me, like little like hints on like where coordinates were for me to meet them, and where to go to, and like how I can communicate with them, and just give me like, little hints, and like leaving behind little trails for me to pick up on.
Right, right. And so, and you learned this out of Stephen Greer, or did you learn this by yourself?
by myself and just making contact with them. And the only things the Dr. Stephen Greer did for me was confirm that like I'm not crazy. After I had my first experience, like I ended up like googling everything that I can on like UFOs and ETs and what places around me are like, because I live in Connecticut, and like Yale University is an old secretive place, and it holds a lot of background and history to it. And I had ended up googling some stuff here, and like people seeing beings and encountered tall gray beings around here. So it just led me to a lot of questions, and then I ended up finding Dr. Stephen Greer's documentaries, and then after that I did like a few week of just following him on social media, and then just practicing CE5. And then after CE5, I just figured like I didn't need these methods anymore, and they were telling me I didn't need these methods. I can just communicate freely telepathically, and just they're like a phone call away. It's really weird, because
Right.
sometimes it could be the same being you're communicating with, or it could be a whole different being. Like you said, it's non-local, and when you travel to different dimensions, and it's literally like you said, it's like an email. Like you send it somewhere, and it goes everywhere. It's like we literally live in one big iCloud, to say the
Yeah,
least.
bro, like it's crazy that you say that, because I can really, really relate to this, man. Because, like I said, I discovered this through literally a thought. Summoning UFOs, like why not? And then when I researched